North Dakota Republican senator and member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, Senator Kevin Cramer. Donald Trump had a great night, Senator, but not as good as yours. You had a 30-point re-election victory. What does the win feel like? And also knowing now that you're going to be in the majority.
Sure. Well, the win felt great. Thank you, Tom. And when you can double the number of votes that your opponent got, it makes for a nice early evening. However, the real work begins now. And so I look forward to being in the majority, having a gavel or two in some subcommittees and working with Donald Trump to really make America great again.
Let's go back to President-elect Donald Trump's massive victory. He had a clean sweep, all 7 swing states. I think there were very few pundits that saw that coming. But what should be job one for this administration and for the new Congress?
Sure. Well, first of all, I told Politico the day before that very thing would happen, and they didn't believe me. But anyway, that said, that's because I live out here in Realville. So it's interesting because the first thing that we have to do when we become the majority will depend somewhat on what we get done in the next month and a half before December 20th. But setting that aside for a moment, the special thing about the Senate, whether we have 53 or 54 senators, is that we can confirm Donald Trump's nominees very quickly. And I think I would strongly encourage him to get those important cabinet secretaries nominated, get them to us before he is sworn in on January 20th, so we don't waste any time getting those people in place. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that are going to expire next year, we should improve them. And of course, Donald Trump has some big plans for taxes, improve them, and then get some permanent tax relief that will really get this economy booming again.
Senator, are you confident that there are some bold tax plans that the president has? No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security benefits, no taxes on overtime are the three big ones, plus maybe fixing the SALT tax deduction in the 2017 bill. All that you don't want to increase the deficit by doing that. How confident are you that you're going to be able to find the money through other cuts in order to be able to offset and pay for those tax breaks?
What you want the tax code to do, in my view, is incentivize more work, incentivize more profit, incentivize more economic growth, and that requires a pretty surgical approach, I think, not just a blunt approach. So it will have to be willing to compromise where necessary, find the common ground where it exists, agree to disagree if there are some unresolved issues. But all of the ideas that Donald Trump has put forward are good ideas. We just have to see if we can do it in a way that's, to your point, responsible to the deficit, because we cannot continue to run these huge deficits.
Senator, Americans across the country, many of them celebrating this victory, but the left-wing media having a total meltdown, unfortunately, along with many Americans. Watch this.
I was so hopeful that a mixed-race woman married to a Jewish guy could be elected president of this country. And I think that it had nothing to do with policy. I think this was a referendum of cultural resentment in this country.
Anger and, frankly, fear were way more powerful than appealing to people's better angels.
There are African-American women who know a little bit about being talked down to and know a little bit about having their economic dreams crushed. Tonight, they're trading in a lot of hope for a lot of hurt.
These are many of the same people who called Donald Trump Hitler for years. So we know the talking heads are in full freakout mode. But when you talk to Democrats since Tuesday, do you get the sense from any of your colleagues or any other Democrats that there's an understanding that their agenda is just patently too radical for the majority of the people in this country?
Well, certainly Democrats in North Dakota understand that. They feel abandoned by their party, quite honestly, which is why, there are no Democrats left in elected office in North Dakota, but for about 5 state senators and a couple handful of House members. But therein lies the issue. With regard to my colleagues, I haven't talked to any of them. We texted back and forth a little bit. We'll see when we get back next week whether that reality has set in for them. But I suspect it has for a lot of them. The very places that Donald Trump won are similar to some places that Democrats are going to be running from in a couple of years.
Yeah.
And I just think the reality that's set in, I mean, the talking heads, that was disgusting, quite honestly, that a biracial woman married to a Jewish man can't win. No, because she's wrong on the issues. It has nothing to do with her gender, her race, or who she's married to.
Yeah.
That's the problem. They have to accept that policy matters. People pay closer attention to it, clearly, than these talking heads do. And that's, they have to do some soul searching.
Real quickly, I just want to pivot to foreign policy. Clearly, the foreign policy in this country is going to change significantly over the next 4 years. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky extended his congratulations to President-elect Trump, along with many other world leaders. President Trump has said that he's going to end the war in Ukraine. How do you see his foreign policy taking shape? And if you were to give him some advice, what would it be?
Yeah, well, I would encourage him to listen to Ronald Reagan radio recordings like I do, to remember that peace through strength really does work. Yeah. But Donald Trump is nothing if not a projector of strength. This is why I think his geopolitical views, his more populist views, actually work in contemporary America. Because on the one hand, he has relationships with some of the really bad actors, but the reason he does is because they believe him. They take him at his word when he says America is going to be strong again. They have a respect for him because they fear him. They don't respect Joe Biden or Kamala Harris because they project weakness. Even in their diplomacy, they always project weakness. So I think that I'm very optimistic about it, quite honestly. I know that probably Volodymyr Zelensky is a little bit concerned about Donald Trump's desire to end that war quickly, regardless of who ends up winning it, perhaps. Yeah. But you know what? I suspect there are a lot of Ukrainians that are looking forward to that war ending fairly soon as well. And I don't think Donald Trump's going to do it by requiring Ukraine to lose. Remember, Russia didn't invade Ukraine when Donald Trump was president. They did when Joe Biden was vice president, when he was president. And the withdrawal from Afghanistan, what's going on in Israel, of course, the Pacific, all of those things are going to require negotiation from a position of strength, not of weakness.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.